Welcome to the first development log of my VR horror game. My goal for this project is to simply make the scariest horror game currently available in VR. This may seem like an unreasonable goal because there is so much strong competitions for scary horror games in VR, but I have some really interesting and unique ideas that can hopefully make this game one of the scariest available in VR.
Hey, I'm Roger. If you enjoy this devlog, be sure to check out my future content, and with that, enjoy the video.
Development for this project started back in October, after the release of my first horror game on Steam called Mortal Decay. I was really proud of what I created, and I was so happy to see the positive reviews in the YouTube videos that people made. Although I was proud of Mortal Decay, I felt I could do better. So soon after its release, I was trying to figure out how I could make a better horror game, make something scarier. I decided that if playing a game on a regular screen could be scary, then playing one on a screen strapped to your face must be horrifying. So I then made the rational decision of spending $1,000 on a screen that straps to my face. After a couple months of waiting, my Valve Index finally arrived. I wanted development to start off smoothly, so with an empty schedule, I decided to drive 5 hours away from home to start the first few weeks of development at my girlfriend's house, where I could seclude myself from distractions. After arriving, I hooked up my computer, plugged in my headset and sensors, and sat down ready to develop. But my headset wasn't recognizing one of my sensors.
I don't think this is supposed to be flashing red.
I just found out that for whatever reason, one of the sensors for my VR headset quit working. I already contacted Valve and they're sending me a sensor that should arrive within the next week or two, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to make a VR game without a working setup for now.
Without wanting to waste time, I figured I could start development on the enemy AI. I created a new Unity project using the high-definition render pipeline and imported an enemy from my game Mortal Decay so I could use his model for testing. I started with programming his movements and used his animation's root motions to move him around so his movements would appear more realistic. I then programmed a system for him to look around. When he looks around, his head moves separately from his body's animation, making his movements appear much more lively. I will also be using this system to move his head when he is looking for the player later on in development. I then programmed a waypoint system so I can tell the enemy where to walk. Using this waypoint system, I can make the enemy roam around the level by creating multiple waypoints that the enemy randomly chooses between. All of these systems working together create a good foundation for creating a realistic enemy like I am imagining for this game. The next step was to give the enemy the ability to see. The enemy needs to be able to look around for the player, along with other various objects throughout the game, so I need a realistic system for the enemy's sight. The system I came up with determines if the enemy can see something based off of variables like lighting, line of sight, distance, and field of view. After being almost a week late, my new sensor has arrived.
I just got my new sensor in the mail. This is the old one, the broken one that I ordered the replacement for. It's blinking red because that means it's broken. This is the new one.
Valve has now sent me 2 defective sensors. I'm a bit upset, but it's just another obstacle I'm going to have to continue to work around for now.
So, after weeks of assuming that the Valve Index does not work without both sensors, I just learned that it can work with just one sensor. It just doesn't work nearly as well as with 2. After some struggling, I got VR working in the game, but with some seriously mixed results. After adding VR to the game, the frame rate tanked. Before VR, the frame rate was over 200 FPS, but after adding it, my frame rate was struggling to stay above 40. After some research, I found out that the high-definition render pipeline in Unity does technically support VR, but it doesn't really work very well. I found out that most VR projects use the universal render pipeline in Unity, so I had some work to do. After using an entire day to switch my project over to the universal render pipeline, my frame rates relaxed at around 180 frames a second. As of December 21st, 2020, this is as far as the project has gotten. Stay tuned for my next devlog to see where the project goes from here.